Hey guys, this is Benita Blocker. I am actually using a digital camera because for some reason my cell phone, I could not get the storage or something's wrong. So the setup for this is different. But we're gonna make it work. My blog is phenomenalhair.blogspot.com. And this tutorial actually is supposed to be based on me wanting to hand interlock. I have tightly coiled compact hair, which is great for locking because when my new growth comes in, it stays really packed down without me having to do anything with it, so I like that. Of course, it works against me when I was getting relaxers because it was always like pulling the relaxer into my scalp area, which can cause scalp damage. So my hair actually is perfect for locks. So what I'm going to do, the reason why I'm doing a hand interlocking option is because with the tool, sometimes the tool may not be the hair's best friend. So depending on who's using the tool, how they're using the tool, it may be causing hair to pop or what have you. I'm not sure. But I did spray some moisturizer in this area because if the hair is too dry, it's going to naturally pop. So I call it pop, it's break. For people who have tightly coiled hair, we usually use maybe different wording than people with looser hair. They probably would just say it broke, but when the hair starts to pull away, I call it popping because it breaks. But anyway, so let's get started. I do have a few other points I want to make, but let's get started with the locking. So I just dropped my barrette, and we're not going to go back and get another one, and I'm not starting this video over. So this is the side of my head that has the smallest lots. This is the quadrant that the consultant started first. My lots are 2 years, 5.5 months old. And like I said, I just dropped my clip, and I'm not going to bend over to get the clip right now because I'm not exactly sure where it dropped. So I'm going to show you using one hand how to do some interlocking as well as with two hands. I want to also mention, I'm trying to do this, hopefully my eyes aren't looking too crazy. Okay, so I have quite a bit of new growth in here, you probably can tell. And this little corner piece here, it is what happens is, I think my hair is so coily it naturally wants to break. So what's happening is this hair probably kept coming out loose, so it never was forming the lock and the hair wasn't dropping into the lock. And so now it is starting to form, but it's shorter because you know, it just has not been collecting as much hair for as long as some of the other locks are. This side is a little bit longer, so these little hairline areas can always be a little bit problematic, but if you can get it to stay into a lock, it will gain length. So it's always growing. Unless there's a reason for it not to grow, it's always growing, but to gain length is a whole different story. So I'm going to take this lock and move the other locks out of the way. And I'm putting my finger through. Hopefully you can tell that I have my finger through. I'm actually, for this lock, I'm going to try to just do it with one hand, so that was one loop there. I just felt myself grab another lock, so I want to keep that the way. And I'm still going to do a 4-way lock. With this one, I think I am going to have to do 2 hands because it is so much shorter. But I'm doing a 4-point or a 4 pattern, so I can, I'm not sure if I actually bring that through, but I'm literally using one finger. I have enough new growth to get the lock actually through, my finger through the lock rather, and I can pull it. I'm trying to do this on camera and it's not the best way of doing it here, but we'll make it work. I'm fighting with this little short one. I thought it was going to be simple. Of course, if I would plant this, it would still wouldn't have worked because I wouldn't have had enough room to put my finger through it. But anyway, so that's enough. I did 1 revolution with that, so that's a little bit tighter than what I had. I do want to try to pull this other little hair here into it, so let's get one more going. I'm putting my finger through here and I'm going to grab that hair. See if I can grab it through. Hopefully that got through there. I want to get that hair through that particular lock, and then I want to actually drive the end of the hair through the lock to try to make sure that that extra hair gets in there. So I am poking. I'm trying to poke. Let's try this again. Of course, you don't want to spend all day trying to do this, so this little short one may be more ideal to get like a plastic needle and make it go through a little bit better, but that actually got it. So I don't have, I'm pulling pretty hard, but I don't have any extra hair left out on that. I'm going to go underneath to keep with the adjacent pattern. And again, this particular one is giving me a little bit more of a fit, which is why I'm using 2 hands. And you may not be able to tell exactly what I'm doing, but I'm feeding the end of the lock into the bottom, and I only feel enough room to do 1 more revolution, so I'm going to go back in to see if I can make sure that that extra loose hair that I pulled in will stay in there. So I'm going back through the direction that I want that hair pulled into, and hopefully I can find the end of this lock. And you may be seeing the side of my eye because the way I have the camera positioned is so I can see that you all can see a little bit. I'm also looking in a mirror. I think that actually got it. Okay, so that's much more fuller, and I still have the locks around it, so I think you all can tell that this is a much fuller lock. Nice and neat. Let's do 1 more. This particular one, like I said, this side is really a Sisterlocks size lock, and so it's smaller. I am going to do my best to do this one with 1 hand, so that's I really prefer it to be a little thicker at the roots for 1 hand. So let's do this one. Let's do this one. It still has enough new growth in there, so let's do this one with 1 hand. So because I can do this in the car sometimes if it's enough new growth in there. So I'm pulling that through with 1 hand, and then let's do it again. Pull it through with 1 hand. So the longer the lock and the more new growth if there's enough thickness at the root, I can do it with the one hand. I'm actually holding the other locks up again because I dropped the clip. And even if I'm in the car, I can, most of the time, I may fight with pushing this hair up, but I make it work. Hopefully my eyes aren't looking like they're bulging like the whole time. But, okay, so if I was in the car driving and trying to do this, I do feel a few hairs that are across. I'm popping those. For me, I'm just going to pop those out of the way and finish my one hand interlocking, so people can so hopefully you see what I'm doing. I am not doing the 3 pattern, I'm doing the 4 pattern, and I may go, sometimes I may do a little bit of a 3. It depends on how much I can, how much new growth is in there from my finger. Like this time, I'm probably, this go around is probably just going to be a 3 because I just want to get this in one more time, and hopefully you all are seeing that. Yeah, so that's basically all that I'm gonna do for this one, but I did that with one hand. I did the this one with 2 hands because it's a little shorter. The base was nice and thick, but it's a little bit too short for me. Now I'm just going to twist that in a little bit. So that's hand interlocking. And now I also wanted to address 2 more things. One, when you ask for Sisterlocks, I had a lady to actually email me about, she had an idea of what she wanted her Sisterlocks to look like, and I'm pulling a Sisterlock calendar. So I'm pulling actually this calendar. I don't know if you can see it or not, but so it's almost like she looked at this page and she like tried to pick out like the size or the way she wanted the Sisterlocks to be. Now, when I'm looking at this calendar, everybody has different textures. So if you have a looser texture hair, it's probably going to give you like a 3C, for example. She mentioned she had a 3C hair. Typically, to me, 3C is a little looser. I think that hair, you know, without seeing it, I can't, you know, confirm, but most of the time, if that hair is not resistant as 3C, what it's going to do is gain length and movement. So gain length and movement. If you want like thick hair that's just going to stack on top of each other a little bit more like mine, so mine eventually as it gets longer it's going to be stackable. Then I have resistant probably 4C hair, so I can get some movement if I force it, but for the most part it's not really necessarily designed to sway. Some of the looser textures to me just have a way lot. The slight tilt of the head, it seems like they move. Mine, they move a little bit, but not to the level. Well, I think because I still got relaxer in some of these ends, they probably are moving a little bit more because they're thinner, because of the processing. But I think as I get into the thicker pieces, I don't know if I would, because I think that they kind of attract each other through here. So I don't know that it's going to necessarily give me as much movement as what you see now. I think this is mostly the relaxed hair that's still interlocked in the Sisterlock framework. So that was the second thing that I want to speak on, that you can't just pick out a head of Sisterlocks and say, well, that's what I want. At the end of the day, it's like lipstick. You get one lipstick color and 4 people use the same color. It's going to look different on everybody. So same thing with Sisterlocks. If I do the Sisterlock framework on the hair, depending on your hair type, your hair pattern, man, that's going to make a difference in how your locks look as they are forming and encapsulating. So I think, was that it? Oh, so I already mentioned about the length and if the hair is prone to breakage. So people who have had natural hair for like 3 years and it doesn't seem like it's ever going anywhere, that means that your hair probably naturally breaks. It's not that it's not growing, it just naturally breaks because it's coily. Every time there's a coil, there's a potential for breakage. That's why if you're born with straighter, wavier hair, there's less breakage points because there's less curl for it to break. But the more ultra curly, resistant hair, you're going to naturally just break, which is one of the reasons why I'm probably going to steer away from color, because my hair without permanent color tends to naturally break. Like some of the hair that is forming on the outside of the lock, because my hair naturally is resistant, naturally wants to wind, and it may actually be pulling away from the lock, so it just sits on top. So sometimes this hair may have a tendency to break itself. Okay, so it may break if it gets too dry. It may break on its own. And I'm not saying the lot break, but the little fuzz that you see on here, some of that fuzz may break on its own. So I'm not going to do any permanent color with my hair just because I think it's going to be just not a good idea. So we'll grow it out. I'm probably going to get more gray at some point in time, and so we'll welcome that. And this lock, now that I've gotten it kind of going, it should just continue to grow. And that was the same thing. I had one other lock that was in the top of my head that's shorter, and if I can find it, that's not it. It's somewhere in here. But there is a shorter lock right there. This lock actually did not break off. It was just like stray hair that would keep coming loose. And finally I got enough of it going that I could form a lock. So the hair, as it compacts, it drops into the lock, so the lock is forming. So it didn't break off, it just was one of those that I couldn't get the lock going. And once the lock started going, I can start gaining length. So for people who are natural and want to gain length, the locking process may be the best option for you, only because a lot of the hair, by the time you get a lot of length, of course that's shedded hair that's from the years, but it's your hair, and instead of getting rid of it, trashing it, and it falling on the floor, it's just locking and dropping into the locks. So if you want to gain length, locks is a good answer. You don't necessarily have to have it interlocked. It can be twisted. The grid pattern, you know, you could have someone to still part you where you can make it, where you can part it down the center or however you want. So Anyway, that's enough. I think this video looks like it's going on 20 minutes, so we covered a lot. If you have any questions, you may comment, and also go to phenomenalhair.blogspot.com for more information. Oh, one last thing, the buds, these little buds, sometimes people don't like having buds on there. That one's probably not as distinct, but I have little buds on the ends. Those help your locks stay in place. Some people are taking the buds off. If you take it off before your hair matures, it can keep it unraveling, and your lock may never actually stabilize and mature. So maybe wait a couple of years and then chop them off. Mine are probably at a point where I probably can chop the buds off at the ends and be okay, because my locks are 2 years, 5.5 months old. But they don't bother me, so I'm not going to bother it. But have a great one. Thanks for watching. And until next time, take care.